We are Rogue Media Sports.
Yeah. Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network, Colt Brennan Memorial Studio, here high atop the world-famous Alico building, Waco, Texas. Another week of the Cam Show, another week of, well, whatever the Patriots just did. It was not a good trip out to London for yours, mine, our New England Patriots. Definitively the New England Patriots, not the old England Patriots. Am I right, Mike?
You got it there, Cam.
Oh man, that was a massacre. Like, that really sucked. It's bad enough that this team just tortures us week after week with making us watch this brand of football. That's bad enough. But when you make us get up in the morning to do it, football should not be starting before noon. I have always said that. It bugs me in the Central Time Zone that we'll get college football games that start at 11. And then sometimes you get an 8:30 a.m. Central Time kickoff. And it's ass. And it just makes everything all that much more worse to the point where I got like 6 hours of sleep that night and I couldn't even take a nap in the afternoon. Like, I was just pissed. And I shouldn't be, because this team stinks. But we sat here on Friday and I was like, this is a very winnable game. And instead, Mike, you had them winning by like 2 touchdowns.
I said, yeah.
You had them blowing them out.
I was wrong, sir.
So last Monday, the Jags opened up as 8.5-point favorites. And I was like, whoa. After what Drake May just did, like, the Patriots suck, but so do the Jags. And this is not going to be, that's a big line for this game. It ends up going down to 7, but they were closer with the first one. They almost doubled the first one. They win by 16 points and just crushed them throughout this game. And you've got a team in Jacksonville. Let's just break it down coming into this one, because again, I know the Patriots suck. Trust me, I know. But they have some seed of hope last week with Drake May playing well. He played well against a very good defense in the Houston Texans. Now you give him some insulation of not playing in front of a home crowd or anything. So you go out to London. You face a team that was 1-5 coming into this, one that was ready to leave their coach on the freaking tarmac coming back. You've got a bum at quarterback for them, a bust at quarterback, potentially, a rookie wide receiver is the only one who can make plays, and their starting running back is out. And all they did was put in the backup running back and run for 118 yards on your ass, just completely own you. 26 carries for 118 and 2 touchdowns. Tank Bigsby, ruining your life on a Sunday morning, which led to Patriots head coach Jerod Mayo calling out his team after the game. This is what Jerod Mayo had to say about that performance and his team so far this year.
Look, disappointing game. We came out, we started fast. What I would say is, look, we're a soft football team across the board. We talk about what makes a tough football team. That's being able to run the ball, that's being able to stop the run, and that's being able to cover kicks, and we did none of those today. They controlled the ball for most of the day. Their run game averaged over 4.5 yards a carry. Our run game, not sure what the average was, but it wasn't good.
A soft football team across the board. I mean, he's right. He's so right. What I would say is, doesn't that kind of start with the football coach, potentially? And here's the football coach telling us this. That's not exactly encouraging, right? I mean, kind of the buck stops there, pal. They couldn't stop the run, and you're the coach of the team. So, yeah, he talks about in there, which are the same things Belichick said for years in terms of what makes a tough football team. Running the football, stopping the run, covering kicks. 0 for 3, Putty. 3 strikes, you're out. You missed on all 3 of those. Stopping the run. Nope. Gave up 171 yards for a team that got only 68 last week. Running the ball. Nope. Under 40 yards. 38 rushing yards for the whole game. Covering kicks. Nope, not that either. Coaches tell guys to not even field punts inside the 10-yard line. The Jags did that against you, and they scored. Covering kicks, 96-yard punt return for a touchdown. Not even close to being tough enough there. But yeah, I do get tickled when they say, oh, we're not a tough enough football team. And it's like, yeah, well, you're the guy. You're the head coach of this team. And meanwhile, of course, right before we got on this show, he backtracked it on the Greg Hill show on EEI. Oh, we're not a soft football team. We're playing soft football right now. It's like, man, Gerard Mayo is really getting a masterclass thrown against him on how to handle the media as an NFL head coach. Because every time he goes to the podium, he says something, and every time the next day he's walking it back. Every time. Like, he doesn't know how to handle the media, which is so bizarre for me for a guy who only played for Bill Belichick. Like, if you're just going to do anything, just copy exactly what he did. Belichick was a dick to the media. I didn't like the shtick, but at least it didn't get his team into trouble. And it didn't give us fodder week after week after week. Like, he just can't. He was not ready for that portion of this. And apparently the on-field portion either. It wasn't ready to be an NFL head coach. Frequent guest of this show, the Billdozer, a.k.a. my dad, made a great point about this early on in the coaching search when it was rumored that Mayo was going to be one of the guys they considered. Of course, we went to find out he was the only guy that they considered. But, like, why is the New England Patriots an entry-level job? I don't see how that's why you're a program, a franchise with such pride at one point now decides that after we have the greatest coach in the history of the league, that it's an entry-level job. We'll just promote someone from within who's literally never done the job. And I know I made a big point about this last week, but this is something I'm going to be bugged about every Patriots loss. It's just the fact that Bob Kraft had no interest in interviewing anybody else. Didn't want to hear anybody else from the outside. Didn't freaking interview anybody. Just said, Gerard Mayo. He impresses me. He's a mature guy. He was a good linebacker for us once. Like that's the line of thinking of picking the head coach of the New England Patriots. And like that's the most embarrassing part about all of this. The other thing is too, Drake May is clearly your best player, like across the board. Drake May and Christian Gonzalez are the two best players you have. And Gonzalez probably had his worst game as a pro yesterday. Drake May played pretty well. 26 of 37, 276, 2 touchdowns. He was the only saving grace that you had. The problem with Drake May being your only good player is this. How long is it going to take to plug the other holes on this team? Because it is a complete roster failure, and it needs a complete roster strip down, which we've been saying for a couple of weeks now. So how long is that going to take? And do you have the guys in place to actually replace that? Do you have the guys in place that can actually build a winning roster around this quarterback? Because what's it going to take? 2-3 years just to get a competent roster out there? Because by then you're going to have to pay this kid. Then you're into contract extension time. And the most valuable thing you can have as an NFL team is a good quarterback on a rookie contract. And you're going to waste all of that because you have nothing close to a competent football team around him. You have some cap space this year, and you're going to have probably the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft. Do not fuck this up. And yet I'm looking at who they've got there. Elliott Wolf, Bob Kraft, Jonathan Kraft, Gerard Mayo, DeMarcus Covington, Alex Van Pelt. Do you trust any of these guys to actually get it going? We talked earlier this year about how Alex Van Pelt's style is probably suited for Drake May, but of course you got to question this dude. because the whole point of him going with Jacoby Brissett was that Brissett was his guy. It was a guy that worked in his system for a Browns team that made the playoffs last year. He was one of the 4 starting quarterbacks they rolled out last year. And that guy sucked. That guy really sucked for you this year. Like the offense was not scoring 2 touchdowns a game. And that was like the hand-picked veteran guy. Again, meanwhile, Joe Flacco goes in there. Anytime he just walks off the street and into an NFL game, he fucking wins. But that's not the guy they picked as the Alex Van Pelt guy. Van Pelt's quarterback. They went with Jacoby Brissett instead. And it stunk. It really stunk. And now you got Drake May out there. He's by far the best player you've got in terms of offensively, for sure. And now you're wondering, how long is it going to take to actually build a team around this kid? Because what you saw out there yesterday was just an embarrassing product. I mean, again, we're talking about a Jacksonville team that was ready to blow it up. 1-5 coming into this game. And if they had lost to the Patriots, Doug Peterson would have been on an extended vacation in Europe because he was getting his ass canned. The Patriots have made Doug Peterson's career. It is amazing that this guy has won a Super Bowl and that he did it against Bill Belichick and did it against the Patriots. And now they're just saving his job. They're just keeping him in the NFL. What is the best anecdote for Doug Peterson's NFL career? Oh, why don't you just see the Patriots on the other side? They'll save you. They'll throw you a fucking life raft. They'll keep your career afloat again. And they didn't even have their starting running back in there. It didn't matter. They just bullied the Patriots. The Patriots got a 4th-and-1 stop at the beginning of the 4th quarter, which kind of kept them in the game somewhat. They were down 3 scores, but it somewhat kept them in the game. 2 scores, 26-10 at that point, whatever it was, 25-10. Kept them in the game, but that 4th down stop came after an 11.5-minute drive in which the Jags passed it once. The Jags went 19 consecutive run plays in the 3rd and 4th quarter. And the Patriots couldn't stop them. 19 straight run plays. You know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Everyone in the fucking stadium knows what they're doing, and you can't stop it. That's the very definition of being a soft football team. Like, why even pass it? Like, there's no reason to. And the Patriots have a great start to this game. They're up 10-0. They got a touchdown on the opening drive, first time in like a decade. They stop Jacksonville on a 3-and-out. Then they go down and they score again with a field goal. And wouldn't you know, at that point, the game is over. Just for the other team. Jacksonville like punted one time after that. And scored 26 unanswered points. Eventually, I think it was 32 unanswered points. Just brutal. Just absolutely brutal. And going back to that start, it's finally something that you had, finally something that you've wanted for weeks and weeks, and really since last season. You've wanted a quick start, an opening drive touchdown. You finally figure out you've got something, and it's like Alex Van Pelt drew up the 15 scripted plays that you're supposed to do to start a game, start a half, and then he just went sightseeing around London. Took one of those open bus tours. He was done. He did his work for the week. He did his 15 plays. Patriots scored 10 points off it. And then 6 the rest of the fucking game. They dropped back on 9 of their first 11 snaps. And it leads to two scores. And so what do they do after that? What does the worst running team in the NFL do after that? Halfback dive, halfback dive, halfback dive. 2nd and 9, 3rd and 9. Go out there and get us a first down, kid. It's so dumb. Oh, but you can't have a quarterback drop back on every play. Why the fuck not? Just do it. It's 2024. Drake May should have been passing it 50 times in this game because their run game sucks. It sucks. He was their leading rusher. Drake May was their leading rusher in this game. And they think that running in between the tackles is going to get them some sort of success. Like, what kind of brain dead fucking operation are we running here? And it's all the way down, dude. It's ownership, GM, coach, offensive coordinator to most of the players. Most of the players. It is just complete failure from top to bottom. And it's going to be the rest of the season. Like this, I mean, now you're talking about just nothing to play for. Nothing. Like, we all like seeing Drake May's development and everything, but 45 of the 53 guys in that locker room is going to be like, what do I really care about Drake May's development? I'm not going to be here when we turn this thing around. I'm not going to have a job in the NFL when they turn this thing around. And for the first time after this game, I questioned what position the Patriots will go after in the draft with their first round pick, because it probably should still be offensive tackle. It's been that way the whole season, but I mean, people are pointing out, I think Curran put it out there, was like, now do you think about getting the defensive end from Michigan? Because you've got nothing defensively. Nothing. This was supposed to be a top 10 unit, and it's a bottom 5 unit. It's one of the worst rush defenses in all of football. And it's shown that the last couple of weeks. I mean, teams are averaging 200 yards on the ground against them. I got to pull up the exact stat here, but the last 3 weeks, which includes, Jags, Houston, and Miami, who had nothing at quarterback, you knew they had to run the ball down your throat. In that span, the Patriots have allowed 556 yards on the ground. 3 weeks. Fucking absolute bush league. Went up against a team with the worst pass defense in the NFL, scored twice on it in the first 2 drives, exclusively passing the ball, and said, you know what? We need to establish the run. We are a hard-nosed running football team full of men who can run the football and tackle. No, you're fucking not. You are not. You are definitively not that. But they're so obsessed with having this identity that nothing shows that they can have. They're obsessed with having this identity that the personnel nor the product on the field has backed up for 2-3 years now. And they're like, no, we want to be a hard-running football team. Based off what? Your 38 rushing yards against Jacksonville? That's what makes you think you're a running football team? Give me a fucking break, dude. We're going to draft a quarterback with a gun for an arm, 3rd overall, and we're going to be a run in between the tackles football team? Get me some new thinking in Foxborough. Like, oh my God. And that I haven't even started with the worst player on the field for the Patriots. You drafted 2 skill position guys on offense in the first 2 rounds. One of them's pretty good. The other's Jalen Polk. 10 catches, 27 targets this year. Every 3 times you throw it to him, he's going to pull it down once. And he's going to get his hands on all of them. Remember when Jalen Polk told us he had the best hands in the league last week? No, I'm not worried about it. I got the best hands in the NFL. Bull fucking shit, man. 3 targets, no catches. And the only reason you didn't get credited for a 4th target is because you fucking slipped on the 2-point conversion. For whatever reason, the most important play of the game, they're drawing up one hot route, and it's to Jalen Polk, who's got rocks under his gloves. It's so bizarre. And we're so worried. I know it's not apples to apples, but we're so worried about, when can they put Drake May out there? You don't want his confidence to get shot. What if you put him out there and then you have to take him out? Will he ever recover? Well, how about you think about that for your rookie wide receiver? Because you throw to him on every drive and he can't fucking catch a football. N'Keal Polk. You just got the reincarnation of N'Keal Harry. That's all you got right now. I'm not ready to go say he's a total bust because it's halfway through his rookie season. But this is like carbon copy of N'Keal Harry. You took the number 1 jersey, you ripped the nameplate off, you put a different name on. He gets his hands on everything, and yet he doesn't bring it down. In fact, he dropped a 3rd down early in the football game, which led literally the next play. They have to punt, and it's a punt return for a touchdown, 96 yards. I'm not saying it's Jalen Polk's fault. They ran it all the way back, but can you catch the fucking football? That is your job, man. He's been dreadful, gets no separation, gets his hands on it, and doesn't bring it down. That's N'Keal Harry. And then he's going on Instagram afterwards with this dramatic story, all black screen with just the peace sign. What are you talking about, dude? You've got the hands of N'Keal Harry and you've got Stephon Diggs' thin skin. Like, what are we doing? Grow up. You're in the NFL. You're supposed to catch the ball. Don't blame anybody else. Don't put the cryptic peace sign out here. What are you going to do? You going to fucking quit halfway through year one because you can't catch the football? Oh, was it because you had a shit quarterback? Not anymore. 2 quarterbacks this year. Both are trying to get you the ball. Neither one can do it because you're not catching it. And then you've got the balls to put out this peace sign like it's someone else's fucking fault. Your coach should be calling you out, man. You're supposed to be like one of the number 1 targets on this team. You're Tyquan Thornton and N'Keal Harry. You're no better than the rest of them. I mean, it's time you just give Javon Baker a look, man. I'm not saying Jalen Polk's a complete bust yet, but he can do with being benched for a week and figuring this shit out. See what Javon Baker gives you. You did exactly. That fell because fucking Jalen Polk couldn't catch it. Anyway, you just see what Javon Baker can give you. I mean, you're taking a flyer. The season's a waste anyway. See what he can give you because you did the same thing to Kayshon Boutte that you're doing to Javon Baker. And he comes out here with Drake May, and he's got a 40-yard touchdown week 1. He's got a 33-yard reception this week 2. Like, maybe let's try it out because Jalen Polk has been working with Drake May longer than any of the receivers. They've been working together since May. He and Javon Baker. And Polk still can't catch the football. Sit him a week. Figure this shit out. He's supposed to be like the future connection, but I think Jalen Polk took this Patriots thing a little too seriously. He was a good receiver in college, but then he saw, oh shit, I was drafted by the Patriots in the 2nd round. That means I have to suck. Based on all the history of this franchise, I'm a wide receiver drafted by the Patriots 2nd round. I have to be dog shit. And that's what he's going for right now. 27 targets on the year, 10 catches. Oh, God. That was a massacre. Yesterday. That really sucked. Jacksonville. Fucking Jacksonville. 22 points in the 2nd quarter. This team couldn't even rush for 70 yards last week. And they pulled Trevor Lawrence out of the game last week. Good Lord, this sucked. This really sucked.